either you voluntarily to give your opinion, or I just call your name and let you share your opinion with the class. It's about listening. Basically, what is listening? What do you think listening is? Or what? Or you can even share what do you do while you're listening? What you should do, what you should not do when you're listening. So, who wants to start? Who wants to start? If nobody wants to start voluntarily, let me just call. Who's the lucky first? Kaisara. Kaisara, hear your opinion on listening. Do I have Kaisara here? Or she's not here yet? I guess she's not here yet. Yeah. Eva, you're alone. Don't be sad. Sometimes it's boring to have a boyfriend. Okay. Next. Umi, do I have Umi here? Do I have Umi? Yes, I have Umi here. So where is Umi?
Uh, Here, me. It's me.
Okay.
Uh, what madam? Can you repeat the question?
Your opinion on listening?
Listening test.
No, not listening test. Listening. Listening.
Listening.
Yeah, just listening.
Listening. Um, one of the skill of listening. This communication. Communication.
One of the skills for listening
Uh,
is communication.
no, it means if we good at listening, we
Hmm.
also can communication um right. uh,
Communicate effectively.
is if we can listening, when we have a good listening, we can communicate with other people more better.
Okay. It helps in communication. Okay.
Yes.
All right. That is your opinion. What about Kila Lubna? Lubna?
Yes, me here.
Yeah.
Again.
What's your
Alright.
opinion?
For me, the listening is action that have a lot of benefits. Sometimes we can gain more advice and infos to whoever talk about anything, such as a lesson or um, if they want to share something with us. So like Umi say, it's very important for communication. It is true because when we hear people say something to us, then we will communicate with them very well if we are listening to them very well. So focus when they are talking to us, um, make them very comfortable to talk with us, and of course we will be the good listener. So that's all from me, madam.
Okay, thank you. Very good explanation. Yes, you have to focus. It's a very important skill. It helps you with communication. You need to listen carefully for the information. You're going to get lots of information if you listen carefully. Okay. What about Anif Rizwan? Do I have Anif Rizwan?
Yeah, madam.
Okay.
Um, Listening is one of human ability to communicate. Uh,
Human ability to communicate.
uh,
Okay. That's all.
that's all.
Okay. Ability to communicate. So if you cannot listen, you cannot communicate. Okay. Alright.
Madam, can I try?
Yes, Ikmal.
Basically, listening is we give one's attention to a sound. Like we make an effort to hear something. For example, when someone asks us, then um, we make an effort to hear what he say
Mm-hmm.
and be alert to something happen. That's all.
Okay, you be alert to whatever they are saying. You make effort to the the
To
what
hear. Yeah.
to hear all the whatever they are saying. Okay, you make effort.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you make effort. You pay attention. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ikmal. Any more wants to try? Um, Amar, Amar, do you want to try? Or just share whatever you have in your mind about listening? Amar, missing.
Yeah,
Ah, what's your opinion?
um, listening, uh, listening apa tu? In order to apa tu? In order to receive information better, we have to listen better.
Okay, to receive information, you have to listen. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically, all info- opinions, all opinions, right? Yeah, it's about you pay attention, you listen to information, you are focused, you make effort, you want to communicate, so you need to listen. Yes, those are correct. Those are the sort of definition of listening. Okay. Let us just resume this one. So this is what is listening. Okay. Sometimes people say listening as hearing, or they hear sound, or they can describe. But listening and hearing is a bit different. Listening is following and understanding the sound, just like somebody said just now. You make effort to hear the sound. Okay, you follow the sound, you hear the sound, you follow it, and then you understand it, and then you uh, have together a purpose. So, what is your purpose of listening to that particular sound or to that particular speaker? So, you have a purpose. So, you hear sound, you understand the sound, and then you have purpose of hearing. So, that is called listening. Okay. It's a process of receiving. You receive sound, you receive information, and then you construct meaning. You receive here in your ear, you construct meaning in here in your brain, and then you respond again to the spoken information or to the non-verbal messages. And then you hear with attention. So you give attention while you are receiving the information. Okay, so sometimes if you have face-to-face process of listening, you might see the non-verbal messages conveyed by maybe body language, maybe facial expression, maybe the wordings or the sentences used doesn't really show what is the meaning behind it. But then the facial expression, if it is face to face, you can clearly see, oh, she's mad, oh, she's happy, oh, she's sad. So you construct meaning from it and you respond to it. Okay. One thing that you must always include when you are listening is attention, giving attention. If you cannot pay attention or you cannot focus, fake it at first, because sometimes because you faking it or you try to force yourself to give attention, then you'll start uh, involuntarily, you will start voluntarily give attention after that. Okay, so listening can be face to face, or can be from recordings of social and academic context. So social is your daily life, and then your academic lah. Who is this? Aiman. Okay. All right. So listening versus hearing. Hearing is physical process. It is natural. So everybody can hear unless they are deaf. Sometimes deaf people also can hear sounds. Okay. So it is natural. It is physical process. So you cannot say no to hearing sounds. Sometimes your inner ear also produces some sounds. Okay, so it's natural, it's passive, it is without any effort. But listening, you include your mental process. You are active. You actively listen. You actively doing something. You give effort. You pay attention. It's a process and it's a skill. A skill that can listening is very important in your not only academic life but also your future life. And because if you don't listen, you won't be able to respond to people properly. Not always make you say something twice. Why? Lubna doesn't have that listening skill? Are you saying that?
She's a liar, teacher. I'm not like that.
Okay, so yeah, listening is very important to avoid people saying the same thing to you more than once. Okay, but if it is maybe if you are asking for clarification, then it's a different thing because maybe you don't really understand. But then if you make them say something for more and more and more, then it is not appropriate lah. Okay. And maybe yeah, like if I say she might have hearing problems, then you have to check. Okay. So listening, physical and mental, you use your ear and you use your brain. So if you don't use your brain, so might be you're not listening. Okay. So active listening, we have active, we have passive. So active is you have all those efforts and respond. Okay, but if you're passively listening, maybe you just listen and keep it, really respond. Okay, what is active listening? Is a way of listening and responding to other person that involves mutual understanding. So if let's say you are talking to your friend, but you it seems that your friend is listening, but then she doesn't understand. She's doing active listening, she should be understanding whatever information or whatever things that you said. Okay, so it includes responding. Responding means maybe she asks questions back, but not asking you to repeat over and over again. So maybe she asks for clarification. She responds by asking questions. So she is doing active listening. Another thing is a way of paying attention to other people that can make them feel that you are hearing them. So you give attention. So if you give attention, you already is doing active listening. Okay. So one thing that is very, 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 very important is when you listen to somebody, you attention. You show that you are paying attention. Showing how to show you are paying attention. Maybe by looking at their eyes. Maybe by not responding by nonverbal gestures. Uh, you nod. You in a way you respond something that shows that you are giving attention. Okay, and this type of listening is called active because it requires certain behavior. Uh, you include together your listening with some behaviors of yours. Okay, so that is active. Not only just listening and then you go. silent or blank with that. Okay, so responding, understanding, and paying attention. So that is indicator to active listening. Okay, so external barriers while listening. So it is very, very common, and it happens every single time, if I'm not mistaken. Or normally, we will always encounter these external barriers. We cannot avoid outside noises. We cannot avoid unclear recordings or other interruptions. For example, of outside noises, maybe you are in a class and then there are people outside who doesn't know that you are actually doing some listening activities. They are shouting, maybe they are doing renovation, they are doing their work, so they don't know. So outside noises we cannot really avoid. Normally about accents, maybe the speaker is you having British accents or American accents or any other accents that you don't really understand. So it you difficult to understand whatever information they are saying. Unclear recordings. That is from the speaker. Another thing is from the wait. From the technical part, maybe it is a recording audio. Okay, the audio is not really good. They have some problems, technical issues. Maybe when they record it, they don't really pay attention to the volume whatsoever. So it can comes from the speaker or the technical part. And then other interruptions is from you yourself. Maybe you have something else in your mind. You're not focused. You don't pay attention 100%. You're thinking about you haven't had your breakfast yet, or maybe you have to go somewhere else after this, or you may have some undone assignments. Okay, so other instructions is about you yourself too. Okay, so please, when you are having listening activity, you are listening to whatever that you need to listen to, the important activity of listening activity. You have to make sure that you try to overcome all these barriers so that you can fully concentrate and then can fully get whatever information that you need to jot down or take down. Okay, external barriers. Now we go to listening strategies. So these strategies might help you to have a better listening skills. Okay. So be ready to listen. You need to be ready. You need to know yourself and make sure you are ready before you listen to any audio or speaker. Okay, be ready, because if you're ready, then your mind will be focused and your physical your ears will be ready too, and you will minimize the disruptions. Okay, so be ready and then you concentrate. You must clear your mind. You must not think of anything else. You must be focused. You must um, remind yourself that maybe you're learning, or maybe you are getting some important information. So remind yourself to concentrate and focus. And then you should know what you are listening for. Why are you listening to that particular speaker? You have to give yourself a purpose of listening. You're listening for what? You need to take down notes. You need to revise. You need to find information. You need to know how many cases today. So you give yourself a purpose to listen. Okay, and then try to guess the meanings of unfamiliar words by looking at the context you are using. If it is reading, um, you can always look again at the surrounding words or surrounding sentences at the context to guess the meaning. Or if you have time, you can just Google up the meaning of that particular word. But when you're listening, you might not have the time to uh, put the audio on a stop or ask the speaker to stop while you need to search for the meaning of that jargon. So you have to guess by contextual clues. You have to actually have to make sense of the whole uh, situation, and then you have to try and guess the general idea or the general meaning of that audio. Okay, and that is why before you listen, you should know what you are listening to, uh, so that it's easier for you to later on guess the meanings of jargons. Okay, and then when you listen, make a habit of jotting down important details. Make a habit of taking notes, because sometimes you wouldn't know you actually need that particular information later on. So jot down important details, make it a habit, especially when you are studying. So taking notes is very useful for your revision, for you to later look back at your notes, to answer, to complete your assignments. Okay, so jot down important details. But do not try to write down all the words, because when you are listening, the speaker or the audio have their own pace. Maybe they are talking faster than what you can understand or decipher. So you certainly don't have the time to write every single word or every single letters. So try to use abbreviation, short form, and just write down the keywords of the audio. Okay, the content, the topic, the keywords, and then please try to make sense of what you're listening to. Make sense in meaning, the least that you can do is to uh, get the general or the overview or the overall meaning of the audio. General meaning. You sort of you summarize the audio. Okay, at least you got something at the end of the listening activity. So those listening strategies, especially be ready, focus, take contextual clues, and take down notes. You should have that by now. Okay. Okay. This one, the strategist is very useful for later on for your listening assignment, because we are going to cover topic listening in week 4 and week 5. Okay. And then on week 6, you are going to have your listening assignment. Okay. Listening assignment, for that particular assignment, you are going to listen to audio, and then you need to jot down information, you need to categorize the information, you need to create your own notes. Okay, that, and at the end of the session, you need to submit the assignment. um, but you are lucky enough to do the assignment in pair. So your partner too. But do not rely too much, because you also need to listen lah. Okay, so that you can check with your partner. Oh, okay, we listen to this. Okay, so this is correct with. And then you can ask your partner if they have listened to something that you are unable to understand or interpret. Okay, so you have to master these listening strategies. Okay, in listening, we have few types of listening. First is listening for specific information. Okay, for example, in our daily life, we listen to announcement, we listen to conversation between parents, between siblings, between friends, and then we listen to speeches, maybe we listen to news, maybe we listen to music, we listen to songs, okay, we listen to the radio. So listening for specific information is when you need to pay attention to some details. Okay, maybe the reason you listen to announcement is to listen to, oh, what do I have to do today? What do our state have to do today? Maybe if you are in a very PB area, then maybe there are announcement that asking you to do this, to not do that. Okay, and then when you listen to your parents' conversation, maybe they are giving you advices, or maybe they are discussing about something. So specific information, you need to pay particular attention to some details. Okay, the details might be given to you earlier, or maybe it depends on your purpose of listening to that. Okay, maybe if you are listening to news, you want to know how many cases of COVID-19 today, how many cases of death today. Okay, so you have that specific information. So examples of keywords that you can pay attention to can be names of people, the names, maybe the places, maybe the objects. Maybe if you are looking for statistics of COVID-19, then you go for the numbers, and then date, time, events, and etc. So we have the first type of listening is listening for specific information. One example from the academic side is uh, maybe in listening assignment or listening activity, we give you question first, okay, and then you read the questions, and then you need to listen to audio and answer the question. So specific information is from the question. Maybe the question asks for some names, maybe the question asks for some dates or some details. Okay, those are listening for specific information. You don't really listen to all, but you pick the keywords or the highlighted information. And then we have listening for main ideas. Listening for main ideas is actually you make sense of the whole thing, and then you come up with the summary of it, or you come up with the main ideas of the audio or the speaker session. Okay, main idea is general idea or gist of the text. It doesn't include supporting details, it doesn't include explanation, it doesn't include examples. Okay, it is the most important part of what we have listened to. For example, for today, listening strategies. So strategies of listening. Okay, for example, or if you still remember when you write your essay, whatever essay, English essay, BM essay, you have to find main ideas, right? And then you have to elaborate all the main ideas. So in listening, you have to know which one is the main idea, which one is the elaboration. Okay, listening for main ideas. Sometimes this one is closely related to your assignment, because your assignment is quite general. They might ask you for main ideas, and then you need to elaborate yourself, meaning elaborate from whatever you listen to lah. Okay, so actually, and this is the most important part, because at least you get something at the end of your listening activity, listening for main ideas. When you are listening, you should be able to identify main message. What is the speaker trying to say? Main ideas, the least that you should do, listening for main ideas. Okay, that's number two. And then the third one is listening for note taking. This is also closely related to your assignment, because you need to take notes. Okay, so while listening to audio, you jot down important points only. Important points only meaning you have your question first just now, right? You have your instruction. Okay, so what is the instruction? What they ask you to do? So you jot down based on the instruction. Or if you don't know, if in your daily life you don't have a specific instruction, you jot down based on your purpose of listening. Okay, listening for note taking. So you jot down the keywords, the highlighted words, the important that is relevant to you, and then you leave out the irrelevant details. Maybe, oh, these details or this elaboration explanation is not important to me. My purpose is not this, so I just leave it. Okay, so You take notes on whatever that is really important to you only. And please, to save time, you use short forms or abbreviations, but please remember, use short forms or abbreviations that you will be able to understand even after you left your note for a month or 2 months, because sometimes you don't review your notes right after you jot down your notes. Okay, maybe you jot down and then you leave it for a while and then you want to come back to it 2 or 3 days after, or a month after, or a week after. Okay, so make sure when you want to come back to that particular notes, you understand your short forms, because we have standard abbreviations, we have standard short forms, but then maybe you're not familiar with that, maybe you're not used to that, so it's hard for you to follow it, so you just use your own. It's okay, it's okay, as long as you are able to understand it anytime. Okay, for note taking, to ease your to ease the process of you taking notes, you might use mind maps, tree diagrams, or outline notes, or any other types of notes. Okay, so it is easier because it is more organized, it is strategically located, it's easier for you to search for which is the main idea, which is the supporting details. Okay, make your life easier by using the techniques of taking notes. Okay, so we have three types of listening: listening for specific information, listening for main ideas, listening for note taking. Okay, so you are going to use these three later on in your assignment. It's just that maybe listening for main idea and note taking is more, the weightage is more compared to listening to specific information. Okay. So now the conclusion for our listening slides is, and our listening strategies, listening activity. Actually, listening is a very critical communication skill. It is crucial for you to have and to actively listen in order for you to achieve your communication goals. Because your communication goals, the first one is to make sure the other person fully understand you. Okay, so active listening is very crucial. And then you must make sure that you will always develop your listening skill. Okay, how to develop is always by practicing. You can start practicing by listening to music, and then by listening to podcast, news, and then try to jot down, try to figure out the main ideas, try to figure out the supporting details, try to figure out maybe the data, maybe the names, places. Okay, you should always practice yourself for listening activities, so that your ear and your brain is always ready, is always there for you whenever you need to listen later on. Okay. This one is already in, is it? Okay. All right. So that is all for the first part of our lecture today. The first slides. We have 3 slides today. Listening. Okay. Now I'm going to move into note taking and note making. So this is the second important part for you to take note. Wait. Stop presenting. You can ask questions after I finish my first half of the lecture. You okay. Okay, note taking and note making. Can you see it? Okay. Right. So note taking and note making. We have two here, two things. Taking notes and making notes. So what is the difference between those two? Note taking, note making, what is the difference? Okay. Note taking is basically the simplest way to say, to give meaning on note taking is you just copy whatever you listen to and into your notebook. You listen, you copy. Okay, you did not do anything else. You did not change, you did not alter, you just copy one to one into your notebook or whatever device you use for taking notes. Okay, note making is after you take notes, you come back to it, you rearrange, you reorganize, you sort the relevant and the irrelevant details. Okay, you leave out the unnecessary information. So that process is making notes because you are taking whatever you are utilizing the notes you take just now, and then you come up with a new one. But then the meaning is the same, it's just a different structure or more organized. Okay, normally note making is after you take notes. Okay, but sometimes maybe if you are the person who doesn't like to take notes, but you are able to listen and memorize whatever you are listening to, so straight away after you listen to audio or to lecture, you start making your own notes based on your uh, memory and based on whatever you listen to. Okay, so making notes is you might alter, you might change, you might rearrange, you might reorganize. But taking notes is just simply copy and paste. Okay, but not copy and paste the like what you do in your assignments lah. But it's just you copy whatever you listen into your notebook. Okay, and then you rearrange it. It's called note making. Okay. Why you have to take notes? Because sometimes the lecture is too long. The lecture is containing a lot of information, so you need to summarize. So you take notes. You need to summarize. You take notes and then later you summarize. Okay, to ease your revision process, to ease your study, you have to summarize. And then to keep you focused. Sometimes because if the lecture is more than 1 hour, more than 2 hour, you tend to lose focus because you are the one who's listening without doing much of the talking, right? So your brain might have the might burn out. So maybe you're sleepy. So to keep you focused, you take notes. You do some physical activities. Okay, so you take notes. You want to be more focused, and then you want to organize information, and then of course you want to make your revision easier. Because sometimes if the speaker is talking about something that um, is not really organized, meaning they don't have the framework, or they don't have the organization, uh, the session might be long and might be having information scattered. Maybe it is not in chronological order. So you take note to organize information. Okay. So these are the common reason on why you take notes. Effective note taking should have a purpose, well organized, clear, and concise. So please, if you want to ask yourself to take notes, please have a purpose, a valid purpose that you won't feel that you're forced. Okay, because if you're forced while taking notes, maybe you won't be effectively taking them. Maybe you just write down whatever that you listen to, but then you don't fully understand. Okay, so have a purpose. Well organized, meaning you should always use the techniques of taking notes. Maybe do you use the diagrams, the outline, the timeline, the table. Okay, you organize, and then clear and concise, meaning you take down only the important information and in simplest way, in if the sentence originally used by the speaker is advanced and you don't understand it, so you take note by simplifying it. Okay, clear and concise, and make sure you really understand whatever that you jot down. So you can use abbreviation and symbols. So these are only some of it. Okay, intro, you shorten it. Okay, to save time when you are taking notes. You use symbols, you use apostrophe, or you may just use, like I said before, just use your own style of abbreviation and short forms. Okay, so these are the two types of notes: linear and non-linear. So when you are when you are taking notes, if I am the one who take notes, normally I'll just write down it in this form, linear, because I don't really know yet. Okay, which one is the first, which one is the second? Maybe the speaker mix up or jumble up, so I just use linear. And then when I'm doing my notes, okay, I'll use this one because I'm this type of person. Okay, but if you are the linear type of person, you are always structured, then while taking and making notes, you can always stick to one type. Okay, so linear and non-linear, these two will help you to have a well organized notes. Okay, two types, linear and non-linear. So what chronological, you use headings, you use subheadings, you use examples like this one. So you have headings here, and then maybe you have more subheadings here, here. Okay, so it is structured like this. Okay, while non-linear is in diagram forms. It's very visual. If you are a visual person, then you may use non-linear. Okay, you may use because the key ideas is branch out around a topic. Okay, you love to branch out. You love to see things in diagrams, in pictures, in illustrations. So you use nonlinear. Okay. One thing about diagrams is you can always add more information easily anywhere you want at any time. Okay, because it is those information is compiled in branches. But if it is in linear form, in a structured way, maybe the information that you want to add doesn't really relate to headings and the subheadings that you already have. To create another headings, another subheading, so you need to you need to edit your original notes. Okay, that is the pro and cons of linear and non-linear, because the pro of the linear is it is more neat. It is neat. It is neater. Okay, but for non-linear, you have the access to add more information easily. Okay, those are the two types, linear and non-linear. So for linear, we have outline. For non-linear, we have the rest of it: table, mind map, timeline, flowchart, and tree diagram. Okay, these are only 6 of the numerous types of notes outside lah. Okay, outline is linear, table, mind map, timeline, flowchart, and tree diagram is in non-linear category. Okay, so what is outline? Outline is chronological, have headings, subheadings, have keywords, have symbols, and neat, like this. Example of outline note system: alphanumeric and decimal system. So you organize your notes like this using the A1, ABC, 1, 2, okay, like this. Or that's one, 1.0, 1.1, 1.1.1, okay, outline note system. It's from the top to bottom. Okay, and if you opt for alphanumeric, for your own notes is okay for you to interchange it. But if you need to produce a thesis or to produce article or to produce a document that you need to submit that needs maybe you need to publicize it, yeah, or uh, the one that you need to submit to people, you need to stick to only one type. Okay, if you choose alphanumeric, the whole document should be alphanumeric. If you choose decimal system, the whole document should be decimal system. Okay, you should not interchange it. Okay. So how to basically read, determine main idea, details and points, and then you organize. So the general way of making notes, not only outline notes but all the notes, is first read, second determine main idea and all the related ideas, and then the last one is you organize. So read, determine, and organize. So it is the same for all types of notes. It's just that in here we provide you the more detailed way to make each notes, but the general idea is to read, to determine ideas, and to organize. Okay, so I'm not going to really talk in detail about that, about how to make each notes. Okay, so you have table. For table, it is for classifying ideas. You have different categories. Okay, you want to separate ideas into columns and rows. You want to compare, you want to summarize, you want to take down notes about advantages and disadvantages, causes and effect. So you can use table. Okay, but information in tables should be short but clear. It should be short. It doesn't include full long sentences. Okay, because if you have full and long sentences, the reason you opt for tabulated notes is for you to clearly see all the points in one page. Okay, so if you have long sentences, the notes will be in more than one page. Okay, so that is why it should be short but always clear. Okay, so this is one example. Causes and then effects like this, and they don't use full sentence. Still other people's account, they don't use the long sentence. Okay, they just use a short one, like this. Waste time. Apa ni? Point form. Okay, they just use point form. All right, the third one. Okay, this is how to make table notes. Basically, you just read, capture important points, and then you tabulated it. Now mind map. Okay, so mind map, if you're a visual, you will love images, colors, symbols, arrows, all those things to convey meanings, to represent your notes. Okay, it shows relationship. But for mind map, you must always remember that it will never start somewhere else. It will always start in the middle of the page. Mind map will always start in the middle of the page. So if you opt for mind map later on for your assignment, make sure the keyword or the core idea or the topic is in the middle. Okay, we have a format for mind map. It always start in the middle and then the sub ideas will come in all directions. Okay, this is the structure of a mind map. The title is in the middle, intro in the left side, top left. Okay, conclusion in the bottom right. This structure should be followed if you opt for mind map later on in your assignment. Okay, and in whatever assignment that needs you to produce mind map. Okay. This is a sample of a mind map. One thing about this type of mind map is make sure you understand, and make sure if it is an assignment that you need to submit, make sure the examiner will also understand this type of mind map. Because I think I should tell you earlier, I don't really understand this type of mind map. It is very hard for me to decipher what is this, what is this. Okay, so if you want to choose this type of mind map, maybe you can simplify it a bit and make sure the examiner, which is me, understand the information that you want to convey and give you the right full marks that you earn, that you should earn. Okay, this is the hardest sample of my map. I can't even understand clearly if I have this. Okay, but if this one is very easy. Okay, I like this type of mind map. If you offer mind map lah, because it's very easy to understand. It's very simple. Um, so this is another way of doing mind map. Just maybe you just add more colors, add more pictures, or add more symbols. Okay, but in here in this sample, they don't have the intro, they don't have the conclusion. So for you, if you opt for mind map, make sure you have the topic here, the introduction here, and the conclusion here, right? Okay. How to make my maps? Identify topic, put in the middle, and then you just branch it out. Okay. It is very flexible. Just now I said my map is very flexible. You can add as many sub topics or branches. You can be creative. You can add pictures, symbols, and colors. This is quite different with the tree diagram. Okay, tree diagram is it looks like mind map, but it is not as flexible as mind map. Okay, now we have timeline. So timeline only suits for dates and events. Dates and events. Okay, uh, to include notes on events that is in a sequence. Okay, the events and dates are in sequence, and then have relationship between event A, event B, date A, date B. They have relationship, and is a process. Okay, maybe the history of uh, or the history of Bill Gates. History, the bibliography, the life, the history of achievement of Bill Gates. So it is a process. It is a process. It contains dates, it contains events, it is in a sequence, okay, and they have relationship. Then you can use timeline. If it's not a process, it cannot be related with one another, you must opt for something else. Okay, because timeline is always about date, events in a sequence that have relationship and is a process, like this one. This is about Apple iPhone, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's about Apple. About the history of Apple register in 1999 and then up till 2008. So they have series of events and dates in sequence chronologically. So you can use timeline. Okay, you can have your timeline in horizontal or in vertical. But if you are using vertical, most probably it's not really appropriate or need to put pictures, like if you opt for horizontal. Okay, like this. So you have two types, horizontal timeline and vertical timeline. How to make timeline notes? Read, decide, and organize. You can do it yourself, this one. Okay, now we have flowchart. Flowchart, this one. You still remember the first time you register to UTHM, you are given a flow chart of registration. So that is example of a flow chart. It represents information that comes in a series of process, represent relationship. It involves steps. Okay, you have step 1, step 2, step 3, and then it's having flow. Okay, from step 1, what you need to do, like this, the steps of making buttermilk chicken. Okay, you can use flowchart, or the steps to clean your to do spring cleaning, steps to do spring cleaning, or steps to operate the machine. Okay, you can use flowchart. Okay, and if you opt for flowchart, use the symbolic shapes. Okay, like this one. You see here you have rectangular shape, you have diamond shape, and then sometimes you have oval or round shape. Okay, so you have to know what those shapes means. For example, this one in the middle, the diamond shape is about decision. So if you need to make decision, you use diamond shape. For rectangular or square is process or steps. So this is the steps, and then the steps. If you have the round or oval is indicating the start and the end. Okay, start and end. And if you have parallelogram, parallelogram, it is action. It is about action that you need to take. Okay, this is decision, but if it is parallelogram, okay. Um, I have the picture of the shapes. I'll upload later. But if you want, also you can just Google symbol for various symbols and the meaning. Okay, flow chart. Flow chart. First, you have to know which symbol that you want to use. Okay, and then you start rearranging the steps and flows. So now it looks quite similar to mind map, but it's fixed. It's not as flexible as mind map. Okay, because um, they branch out symmetrically. Okay, they branch out symmetrically means if you have 5 branches, okay, for all those 5 branches should have the same sub branch, 2, 2, 2, or 3, 3, all 3, symmetrical. Okay, it is suitable for ideas that comes in a hierarchy. It have categories, it have subcategories. Okay, it is a bit more organized because in my map you don't have subcategories or the exact categories or the exact name for each branches. It might be just a random name for the branches, but this one you have specific name. Okay, and a good tree diagram shows clearly how each part relates to another, like this one. So this one, if you have 2, so symmetrically the sub branches also should be 2. Okay, and it always start at the from the left, top, or bottom. Yeah, bottom, but rarely use from bottom lah. But left and top mm, is the most familiar tree diagram. Okay. Mm, how to make tree diagram? Read, determine main ideas, the subheadings and headings, and then the arrangement. Okay. So we have 6 just now. Okay, so now I need to practice taking notes. Let me show you again this one. So this one, we have 6. Okay, 6 sets of notes. The general way of taking notes is read, determine ideas, and maybe headings or subheadings or sub ideas, and then you start to rearrange. So for your practice, you need to choose which one, and then you read, and then you come up with the ideas, the main ideas found, and then you rearrange. Your practice is this one. So you read, you take out the and you rearrange. So just now in previous slide, I told you that main ideas are something that have supporting details and elaborations. So in these paragraphs, to determine the main idea, you need to see if that particular main idea is in sentence number 1, then maybe if you think the sentence number 1 is the main idea, you have to read the next few sentences whether they are supporting the first sentence. Okay, make sure the main idea have supporting details. If they don't have supporting details, meaning they are not main idea, maybe they are just elaboration. Okay, so I give you 15 minutes to read and come up with the main ideas and organize yourself. So you choose which one that you want lah. You choose either outline, either tree, mind map, or any other suitable type of notes. So read, determine main ideas, and organize. And then at 9:40, I will call randomly 5 people to share screen and show us whatever you got, and then I'll do the comments after that. And all of you need to upload whatever you have in order after that. Okay, I give you 15 minutes. Any question for the practice? No question, just do it. It is easier if in words, because if your name is called, you can just share your screen. But if you want to write down, then maybe you just show it in the camera and let me see. Okay.